that were useless. We've eliminated them. We've eliminated them. I'm not going to get into the dredging of the ponds. We're going to talk about stormwater because I've been in negotiations with the town about how much money you've spent on stormwater. I'll get into that later. Basically, we want to give you more bang for the buck. Okay, so now I want to switch over to stormwater management. It should be very important to you because it's been a huge expense for the JOC. Stormwater management is taking water that comes in from the sky, that hits the towns above you, that runs through your waterways, that deposits silts throughout your system, and then runs back into the town. You have been what I would call the filter of water coming from the town, going to the town, but going through the JOC and depositing silt across the way. If you look at an aerial view, which you may not be able to see of the JOC, but that north up there is that, Emily, the name of that area, what is that, Gomer Street? Gomer Street? When that was built, I have in my possession now newspaper articles from 1986 that talk about how the town was built. I now have them in my possession. I didn't have them until about a week ago. But I now have photos and newspaper clippings of how the town was going to remediate your water problems by building Gomer Street. But what they've done actually is increase the water flow and the silt deposits through the JOC to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. By the way, the numbers that have been bantered around is about $2 million have been spent on stormwater to clean debris. And that doesn't even include what the condos have spent on out of their own money. I don't remember who, maybe it was Tony Batista or somebody told me how much money the condos have. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. The reality is that the town is making those deposits on your land, and therefore the town should absorb some of the cost of cleaning of it. It's only right. You allowed them to hook up into your system. They're flowing water through your system. They're creating deposits within your stormwater system. And then it's running back out across the road there to that large public pond. But in the meantime, what's happening is you're being charged to clean it. It's not right. So we've gone to the town and we've asked for a meeting. A meeting to basically say, look, we know the JOC has some responsibility to the stormwater system, but not 100% responsibility. It's some number between 0 and 100, whether it's 50-50 or 70-30. That's not my call. I think we have engineers that will look at that and make a determination. The town's response to us has been, we're not interested in meeting with the JOC. Susan Siegel called me. Do you all know Susan Siegel? Do you all know Susan Siegel? She called me and said, we're not doing anything. Sent a letter to her attorney from our attorney. There is no reason for a meeting, was their response. This is the person that represents you, that all you're looking for is a fair shake. All you want is somebody to say, you know what, I'm running water through your land so that I can build this community up here called Gomer Street, and I'm depositing silt in the JOC, forcing cleaning and dredging and all that. You know what, the town should be responsible for some piece of that. I don't know if it's $1 or $10,000 or $100,000, but it shouldn't be 0. You all know, I'm not going to get into this. You know what stormwater is. It's our responsibility. Even if the town doesn't contribute, we still, as an organization, have a responsibility to the environment to make sure we clean our systems. And this board has spent a lot of money. A lot of money. And Rick will tell you how much money we spent. And I know Bernie can tell you how much money we spent. It's a lot of your money to clean these ponds out. And we know we have to do it. But guess what? What I'm about to tell you is an eye-opener to you. We were spending $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 to dredge a pond. Maybe more. A pond. And you have a dozen ponds out there. I don't know if you have 5, 6, 7. You have a lot of ponds out there. Well, we had a pond that needed, quote-unquote, dredging. First of all, I'd like to personally apologize to everybody in this room because I didn't catch it. And the board didn't catch it. But we've caught it now. We dredged the pond last year for $70,000. And including myself, not knowing any better, we all said, let's go for it. And then Mike and I, speaking to Emily, we went to pond by condo number 8. And we walked up to that pond, we looked at it, and everybody was saying, and this board approved it. By the way, I'm being completely transparent here. Even though I love this board, because I work with them, I think that everybody should self-evaluate. I self-evaluate every day. I know this board self-evaluates every day. What they've realized is, and I want to thank this man sitting to my right here, this board approved an additional $70,000 expense to dredge another pond. And Mike and I stood by the pond, and Emily was with us, and we said, let's try a little experiment. Let's go rent the pump for a few days and pump it and see what's going on here. So we went, brought one of my maintenance people over, and we rented a pump, and we pumped that, and sure enough, we saw some little things that were clogging up some holes. And we managed to drain that pond without having to dredge it. We spent a lot of money to do it. Anybody want to take a guess? Keep in mind, we were about to dredge it for $70,000. And I'm acknowledging that we spent a lot of money to clean that pond. Anybody want to take a guess?
5,000.
5,000. Anybody say 10,000? The reality is we cleaned it for $440. Right here. Right here. 400, and by the way, the expenditure was already approved. It was about to happen. It was going to happen the next day. And he put a stop to it. And for $440, we drained that pond and we found some debris that was clogging it. And we moved forward. And now we have, I'm not saying dredging doesn't need to be done. Yes, dredging needs to be done when it's needed, not when it's not needed. Okay? I'm not going to belabor all this because I think it's too detailed. But the point I really want to make, I don't live in Yorktown. I don't live in Yorktown. Susan Siegel does not represent me. But I do live in another town, and I had an issue with the town, and I contacted the town supervisor about a road that was dangerous. A road near my home that many of my clients, including people that live in the JOC, and I won't mention names because there's a board member here, and I won't mention who, but actually works in the town I'm referencing. Well, this particular supervisor, after I spoke to her and made her aware of the problem, has agreed to repave about a 2-mile road that was in dangerous situation, purely to support her, the people that elected her into office. Yet I told Susan Siegel that we've got 1,500 to 1,600 people that vote in this community, and they're paying to dredge debris that is coming from town land. And her response to me was, we don't even want to meet. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm telling you, these are the facts. So, in summary, over the past 5 years, the JOC and those condos have spent millions of dollars fixing, rebuilding, cleaning out, dredging, etc. A lot of that money was probably necessary. I don't believe all of it was, but clearly some of it should have been the town's responsibility. And up until now, you've been footing the bulk, if not all of that bill. And I'm sorry about that. And I'm going to do what I can do with this board here. I know this board is supportive of what I'm saying because they missioned me to go ahead and engage an attorney and write the letters. They're trying to save me money by getting the town to foot some of that bill. Up until now, the answer's been no, we don't even want to meet with you, forget about it, we don't even want to discuss it. And Mike, am I wrong? Anyway, the big question here is, how do we move forward? Because this is such a huge part of your expense, you just can't let it go. There's really only 2 things we can do at this point because the town's refusing to meet with us. And it's your call. The board here is going to either have to litigate against the town or you need to have proper representation in town. Neither of those 2 things are in my hand. They're in your hands.